Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game FoCuS versus Happy. This game taking place here on Tidehunters 1.2. This is from a recent TED Cup. I don't know anything about it, and well, hopefully we will enjoy this game together. As FoCuS opens up with an Altar of Storms, Orc Burrow, no big surprises there. Meanwhile, down to the south, we're looking at, well, Altar of Darkness, Crypt, and a Ziggurat. I am expecting Happy to open up with his classic Death Knight and Ghouls early on. He has gotten a lot of mileage out of it and is extremely efficient with that particular opening and how versatile it has become. It looks like Farseer Headhunters will be the units of choice by FoCuS. I'm waiting to see for that second Orc Burrow and that first initial Grunt, followed by a bunch of Headhunters. That initial Grunt, great at absorbing a little bit of damage, and a great target for that healing salve without having to worry about losing the unit to, well, a random Death Knight with a Death Coil. Coming back through, Farseer already picks up the Gloves of Haste, moving about here. Meanwhile, Death Knight wandering out across the battlefield. He has sold his Scroll of Town Portal and is now trying to go after some additional creep camps. This is not what I was expecting for his creep pattern at all. Highly aggressive, trying to take his opponent's creeps as he picks up a Mantle of Intelligence. Now that the Circlet of Nobility is no longer droppable from the battlefield, there's almost a run on the shop for at the Goblin Merchant shop for this Circlet of Nobility because of how useful it is. Essentially, it gives the same stats as leveling up. Leveling up usually gives around 6 to 7 or 5 to 7 stats. Circlet of Nobility gives exactly 6, and giving 2 to everything there, making your hero just that much stronger. Coming back through, we're looking at, well, some creeps trying to get cleared up. Who's going to get the last hot hit there? Death Knight gets it. Unholy Aura now available as he's trying to maneuver and position his units around. Never fails. Coming back down to the south side here, Death Knight. Well, hoping to get back on a Blight. While on Blight, remember, he does regenerate significantly more hit points. No Nerubian Tower, though, and which means that, well, without the Nerubian Tower, those Spirit Wolves may be able to get in some easy damage onto these Acolytes. Nerubian Tower nearly done being upgraded here, and this Undead base is actually very sparse. 27 over 31 supply, but the tech to tier 2 has begun. A lot of skeletal minions, and with no easy way to dispel them all, well, the Farseer is just forced to try and retreat back as he too is teching to tier 2. Voodoo Lounge now being placed down as well. Little bit of creeps getting engaged in on the fight. That little bit of damage is going to disrupt the healing on that Death Knight. I think that's exactly what he wanted, as the Farseer is firing from behind the cover of the trees, getting in some chain lightning damage as the Grunt now tries to retreat back. Grunt, is he going to be able to fall all the way back? That is the question there, as the skeletal minions and the Death Knight will have some plans in store. All right. Death Knight, Ghouls looking for that Grunt, hasn't been able to find it. Death Knight now still wandering around here and hiding that Grunt amongst a bunch of Murlocs. A little bit of a smart play there by FoCuS. I'm not quite sure how that works into Orc lore, hiding amongst a bunch of enemies in order to not get taken down by enemies who are awake. All right. It's got to be a pride thing. However, the Grunt does live to fight another day. 205 gold saved, and gold saved is gold earned. All right, coming back through, Shadowhunter coming online now. Tech to tier 2 is completed. We don't see a Spirit Lodge or a Bestiary as of yet. Those should be just around the corner. Meanwhile, down to the south side, Happy nearing his tech to tier 2 as well. Getting up a Graveyard, should go for a Slaughterhouse, train up a hero, and a tech to tier 3. Well, that does cost quite a bit of gold, though. Farseer looking to back around here. Death Knight could try and clear out some more creep camps and get a little bit of gold to supplement his expansion strategies, as we see the Dark Ranger is going to be that second hero quickly hired up from the tavern. All right, so by delaying that tech to tier 2 a little bit, he still gets his Happy still gets his hero out faster since it was trained at the tavern. Really, the Lich isn't brought into play until after the until after the Orb of Corruption is completed. That's really when he hits his stride. And now we will see even more skeletal minions and skeletal warriors, lesser dark minions here, having to be dealt with. All right, interesting enough, lesser dark minions actually have more hit points than the skeletal warriors. It's just that the skeletal warriors do a little bit more damage. Coming back through black arrows, finding their target. Both sides going to try and engage here. We see a hexed ghoul. Is it going to get taken down? 1 or 2 more shots. It looks like it will get taken down, but taken down by the creeps. No experience given as the units are still fighting every which way. Dark Ranger not going to try and retreat back. Another skeletal minion going to get taken down as the Dark Ranger looks to retreat. All right, excuse me. Wow, allergies were okay before. Not quite sure what's happening. Death Knight going after the Dark Ranger, or with the Dark Ranger going after this Ogre Magi Elemental Creep Camp. Death Knight will stay at level 2. Dark Ranger gonna perhaps get to level 3, maybe a bit close. No, just picking up the item and then moving on their merry way. Both heroes having taken quite a bit of damage. Meanwhile, Skeletal Minion comes back around trying to cause a little bit of disruption. You can see these enraged elementals actually making their way over. That's actually a purposeful aggro pull by those skeletal minions to try and get in a bit more damage. We can see the bestiary is already done with the introduction of a Wind Rider. In fact, FoCuS going for dual bestiaries. Wind Rider and Kodo Beast will be turned out, perhaps even a bit of Raiders. Wind Rider, Scroll of Speed engaged here. No tech to tier 3. Reinforced defense is now getting added as well as the Death Knight down to 175 hit points back on Blight and the safety of home. One ghoul quickly going to get cleaned up here as the Wind Riders going after some easy creep camps here. Perhaps the Shadow Hunter will get to level 2 as we see the Crypt Fiends are now out here on the battlefield. Death Coil onto the Dark Ranger. Dark Ranger will be able to stay alive a little while longer. Grunts are here and engaging as well. The Crypt Fiends, however, do not have any web yet. At the Kodo Beast could easily try and chomp up on something as well. We're looking at a Forest Troll Berserker. That's going to get taken down. Kodo Beast now providing that damage bonus, and all of these skeletal minions could just add up more experience for FoCuS's heroes, as these lesser dark minions are rather low on hit points, easy to take out. Back off to the north, Skeletal Minion finding a great hall under construction. FoCuS is in a great position now. FoCuS is in a good spot now to try and sorry, just realized I wasn't streaming. So for all of you guys on Twitch, who normally watch me on Twitch, I just forgot to stream. Coming back around, Snapper, Giant Sea Turtle is going to get cleaned up here. Shadow Hunter could get up to level 3 off of this creep camp pretty easily. And from there, we'll see what happens next. Let's not start streaming. Anyways, Shadow Hunter going to go ahead and pick up a couple of items, make their way back down. Farseer sitting at level 3, and now going to try and put some pressure on that Death Knight. Dark Ranger, Death Knight, both still sitting at level 2. And if FoCuS can keep those enemy heroes at level 2, well, things are just going to go sideways rather quickly, as the hero level advantage of the Shadow Hunter and the Farseer could topple this Undead army. The introduction of a third hero as well is going to make experience just that much more difficult to rack up, as we're looking at the Shadow Hunter purposely here, perhaps going to try and pull the Rock Golem away and clear out a difficult creep camp that's close to their opponent. All right, no, not going to be doing that. Instead, heading off to this expansion location, making sure no expo is in play. Death Knight, Dark Ranger, both going to be sitting, or Death Knight could be leveling up here. Dark Ranger going to be coming up from behind. Lich about to be onto the battlefield as well. All right, couple of easy warriors here getting cleaned up, as the Lich does already have that Orb of Corruption since we are at tier 3. FoCuS with the expansion, and well, gonna have that economic advantage. Dual watchtowers with reinforced defenses already. Meanwhile, what is the Farseer gonna try and do here? Farseer gonna pick up a number of units. One Raider not gonna be able to join the party. Nope. One Headhunter not gonna be able to join the party, as there is gonna be a drop in the back here. All right, Goblin Zeppelin coming along the side. It looks as though there was a destroyer that was trying to keep track. Does not find it. as the Destroyer is still on patrol here. That's going to be big news as the Goblin Zeppelin now going to be suffering a little bit of damage. All right, how much damage can get added up here? There's a Wind Rider nearby as well, and in comes a drop. Wind Rider needs to join in on the battle. There's goes an ensnare onto that Destroyer. Healing Wave bouncing around as the Haunted Goldmine could get sniped down quickly. All right, Wind Rider looking to finish things off here. Are we going to see enough damage? Down to 162. The Raiders are really racking up that damage here as you can see that the Destroyers are trying to finish things off. Enough damage is done. One Raider gets taken out. Hit and run tactic, and it does work. Setting back this Goldmine will need to be re-hunted and rebuilt, and with that, well, a little bit of lost mining time as well. We're talking about 0 gold a second going up against 20. Happy knows that he needs to strike back now as he doesn't want FoCuS to continue to build on his economic advantage lead too much. All right, Headhunter, well, trying to get away. Looks like he's going to take a Death Coil in the back. Destroyer is right there. Berserker, is he going to get the kill? Well, he does get killed, but unable to sacrifice himself onto that gargantuan sea turtle. FoCuS now breaking up into low upkeep. Meanwhile, Wind Riders now making their way down. You can see the Death Knight is now at level 3, has picked up healing wards. Farseer, Shadowhunter show up to the party. It is level 1 Hex, level 2 healing wave. Both sides going to be fighting their way through. Ghouls can easily get taken down. A little bit of poison, but I believe that is from the creeps, not from those Wind Riders' envenomed spears. Farseer looking to head back off to the north here. Shadowhunter, Kotobeast trying to retreat back. Kotobeast, nothing in its belly, but still a high priority target for supply. Very easy to take down as the Farseer trying to keep things alive here. Lich, even with level 1 Frost Nova, able to slow down that Shadowhunter enough and get it taken out. Happy now perhaps going to use that hero level momentum and continue to push back the other way by taking down one of those heroes there. Death Coil saving one of those Destroyers as the units are falling back once more. Remember, Wind Riders are what I call supply fat food, as supply fat food, 570 hit points, but easily taken out by some direct damage. Death Coil, Frost Nova, a healing ward being placed in the back here as, well, the Voodoo Lounge advantage is going to be removed. Destroyer trying to just hold the door here, keep that Farseer at bay, and with that healing ward in the back, the Obsidian statue can just focus on mana. I don't believe it's doing that though, but the Death Knight could definitely use some additional mana for those Death Coils. Altar of Storms nearing, well, on fire now. It looks like it's taking a little bit more damage as the Wind Riders are now trying to go after those other units, and Farseer gets taken down as well. Farseer falls at level 3. Shadowhunter still getting resurrected. This is an expensive deal here as Happy finding the right opportunity to just punish his opponent, getting that level up to level 3 on that Death Knight, clearing out this creep camp, picking up the healing ward, and things and the momentum of this game has drastically shifted in just about 2 minutes. Death Knight now going after the Null Overseer here. Going to go ahead and clean things up. There goes a Null Brute as well. We may be looking for level 3 on that Lich. Meanwhile, Shadowhunter and Farseer both resurrected at the tavern. Well, Boots of Quel'Thalas better for the Shadowhunter's damage and armor, since the Shadowhunter is an agility-based hero. Gonna, well, perhaps try and move around a bit more. Now, Envenom Spears must be on the table. No other reason to try and go into Fortress at this time. Voodoo Lounge now being placed down. I don't see a replaced Altar of Storms yet. There's those Envenom Spears, and remember, Envenom Spears stack if they're from different Wind Riders, and suddenly, well, the number of Wind Riders could start to become a problem. More Wind Riders are being trained. We're seeing a high number of Wind Riders, but remember that the Lich is now sitting at level 3. Level 2 Frost Nova can very quickly take down those units, as we're looking at the Wind Riders suffering quite a bit of damage as well. All right, Granite Golem quickly taking down Tome of Knowledge, Legion of Doomhorn for faster movement speed to move around much more quickly. Shadowhunter sitting at level 3, getting very close to level 4 as the Undead army back on the move. 54 supply compared to 49. Well, the army sizes are about the same. Are we going to see an engagement here? No real armor upgrades on the Wind Riders either. If there was some way to, well, add more hit points to those Wind Riders, or perhaps take away or just take away one of their supply, that would really help out Orc players, as they're not very strong tier 3 units. Wind Rider getting ready to engage here. Farseer gonna head their way off. Lich has plenty of mana for those Frost Novas. Imagine an Icy Burst now here in just a moment, and you can see all of that damage. Now, Envenom Spears, Lich taking quite a bit of damage. Envenom Spears, well, not lasting that long on a hero, but still some damage was dealt. All right, coming back around, are we gonna see some damage? You can see the Dark Minion, just how quickly that timed life damage, or that damage over time, does deal, but well, we'll continue to see what's happening here as FoCuS is trying to hold on to his economic advantage, the only thing that's giving him the advantage now as a ghoul gets taken down. Another Frost Nova going in. Perhaps some scrolls of healing are needed. I think that's exactly what FoCuS is trying to do, but is going to be too little, too late. One scroll of healing, is a second scroll of healing there? No, it is not. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. The Wind Riders are trying to hold off here as the Death Knight is now making their way over. Lich has enough mana for another Frost Nova, and that is a very fragile group of air units there, as we're going to see some Healing Wave now bouncing around. Healing Wave bouncing around, back around. We see another Frost Nova. There's that healing scroll being used there. Chain Lightning coming back the other way. Happy going to lose a couple of Crypt Fiends quickly, as all 3 Crypt Fiends die pretty much in an instant. Now coming back around here, so more damage over time getting added in. Another Crypt Fiend could get taken down here. Another Death Coil perhaps. Yes, Death Coil in time as both sides are fighting their way through. Couple of webs bringing down a couple more Wind Riders. Healing Wave trying to bounce them alive, keep them alive around again as the Wind Riders are switching targets onto the Destroyers. Perhaps the Destroyers are going to fall. 46 supply compared to 51. Both sides suffering heavy casualties as another Crypt Fiend could get taken down. Farseer could be in a little trouble. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability on the Shadow Hunter. It looks like he will be able to get away with the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Farseer needed one more attack onto that Crypt Fiend to take him down, unable to finish it off as that Crypt Fiend stays alive at 2 hit points. Shadow Hunter needs a little bit more healing as well. More Wind Riders are getting trained back up. 52 supply now compared to 49. Shadow Hunter needs a Potion of Mana. Farseer needs, well, some healing salves to try and reset once more, but Happy definitely has the hero level advantage, nearing level 5, not only on the Death Knight, but that Dark Ranger as well. All right. I don't know if it's a missed opportunity by FoCuS to take down a couple of Crypt Fiends, or absolute brilliant play by Happy. We saw being able to save those Crypt Fiends. We saw how important Web was at shutting down those Wind Riders, keeping them in position at the same point as the Shadow Hunter now coming back around. But are we going to get some repairs on this Orc Burrow? No repairs on the Orc Burrow. Wind Riders trying to make their way around as the Crypt Fiends are going to be, well, webbing down a couple of those targets. There's a healing wave to quickly try and save one, as the Shadow Hunter is once again low on mana. All right, Death Knight trying to venture forth. What is going to happen here? There's a lot of Destroyers there. Destroyers taking quite a bit of damage over time. Death Knight will need some Death Coils to try and save up those units, as the Lich could be in trouble as well. Chain Lightning as the Lich does end up getting taken down. A final Envenom Spear finding the back of that Lich, and without the Lich, suddenly this group of flying Wind Riders, their damage is going to be much more threatening now that they are not going to be challenged in the air. However, well, nothing. Just like a rich man throwing money at the problem, Lich is back out onto the battlefield, ready to go. Obsidian statues there to provide mana. Death Knight there to provide some hit points. All right, a little bit of Dark Ritual as well on those Dark Minions. Lich is back in, ready to go. Already has enough mana for one Frost Nova, as the Orc Peons, well, try to retreat and back away. There's another Frost Nova going down across all of those units. The Lich was taken down, but, well, he just gets back up again. I guess there's no keeping him down at all. Coming back through, Wind Riders with that Farseer's Unholy Aura, able to move a little bit more quickly, perhaps using a Scroll of Speed as well for those timely hit and run tactics would work. A second Scroll of Healing could also be useful if FoCuS had enough gold, but doesn't seem to quite have enough to do exactly that. Wind Riders trying to get into position here. Destroyers are all here as well. It's really those Crypt Fiends and this Lich with mana which will be causing problems. Also, plenty of Obsidian statues ready to transform into Destroyers when the time comes. Now, if the Death Knight and the tipping point will be if the Death Knight and the Dark Ranger can get to level 5. If they both can get to level 5, the tipping point will be reached, and the amount of damage done by that Death Coil and the heals will just be far too much. Also, we will be going into greater Dark Minions, meaning that the Lich's Dark Ritual will just be that much more effective. One thing to note, though, is that the Wind Riders do not allow the granting of these Dark Minions since they are air units. That may be the reason why FoCuS has gone air in this particular battle, hoping to find a way to counteract the Dark Ranger's Black Arrows and being able to rack up attacks back the other way. All right, more damage coming back through here. Are we going to see a scroll of healing? No, we are not. Very low hit point Wind Rider. Unit's trying to retreat back. There's some more Devour magic again. There goes a Frost Nova finding the low hit point Wind Rider in that group. There's a scroll of healing to try and regroup there as we're going to be going into an engagement. Death Knight, well, Death Knight trying to retreat back here. More Devour magic onto all of these dire wolves, giving mana and hit points to the destroyers. Wind Riders trying to launch their attacks. Wind Riders with 450 range compared to the destroyers. Chain Lightning still bouncing around. Are we going to see a couple of Crypt Fiends fall? One Crypt Fiend falls. A second Crypt Fiend was about to fall, but ends up still staying alive here. More damage still trying to rack up here. Another, Crypt Fiend going to get taken down. Death Coil not finding the Crypt Fiend that time around as the Shadow Hunter may be forced to retreat back. All right, silence across both. Shadow Hunter now trying to retreat back. More Wind Riders getting into position. Death Coil, what target are they trying to find? 76 supply compared to 60. Both sides engaging back and forth. Destroyers are looking to take down the Wind Riders here. Death Knight is going to get taken down. Yes, Death Knight ends up falling. Dark Ranger gets up to level 5. Death Knight did get to level 5, but was not able to stick around long enough to make the game change. All right, level 5 now on the Shadow Hunter and the Farseer. Big double level up right there. And now the Farseer, if they can focus down this last Crypt Fiend, the Wind Riders will just have an easy time to constantly play with that hit and run tactic. And I believe, yes, Happy will have to throw in the towel. FoCuS winning the game with a lower overall score. Very rarely do you ever see a game go in this direction where the team with the lower hero score ends up winning. The resources, 6,000 additional gold mined by FoCuS after upkeep, the major difference here. All right, very, very big plays overall. Let me know what you guys think of this game in the comments below.